Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I bought something. Well, not today. I've had it for a few weeks now. And by the title, you can assume, yes, it's a 2006 Ford F-150 Lariat Edition. Fully loaded, sunroof, leather seats, heated steering wheel. Don't know the type of sound system it comes with, but it does come with the factory subwoofer under the back seat. And, this truck's pretty nice. Give it a bit of a walk around, tell you what was all wrong with it, and maybe I'll tell you the guys of the price that I paid for it. Alright, let's go take a look. So, here she is in all her glory. So it's an 06 F-150. The Lariat, the 5.4 Triton, known for the infamous cam phasers and spark plugs breaking off. Relatively clean truck. But of course, not without a few issues of its own. It is the fully loaded so it's leather seats all around, power sliding rear window, sunroof, power seats front and for the front. So this seat does have a fairly good tear on it. Other than that, the rest of the interior is mint. One of the issues is there is a key broken off in there, so I have to use my code to punch it in to unlock the doors. This doesn't have remote start or keyless entry. I'm sure there's the keys. I'm sure I could get the fob for it if I wanted to. Let's close this door. Fired right up. It's got 320,000, almost 321,000 kilometers on it, not miles, kilometers. And yes, everything in here works. Power windows, power locks, power mirrors, heated mirrors. Let's close that back window. Auto dimming rear view mirror for nighttime. Let's leave that open for better lighting. So stereo works nicely. Heated front seats. Has adjustable pedals there. It does have memory seats. So, driver 1, driver 2 memory controls. This thing's nice. Now, what was the price I paid for it? I'll tell you in a minute. So, what did I pay? Well, I paid $300 for it. That's right. I paid scrap value for this truck for an 06 F-150 four-wheel drive. Now, how did I get it so cheap? Well, like I said, it wasn't without its faults. See, this truck came into the shop that I work at, and the guy had said, the front end, it sounds rough. can you take a look at it? So we said sure. We threw it up into the air onto our 4-post lift, got it up off the ground, and started looking at the front end, ball joints, tie rods, wheel bearings, that kind of stuff. Notice that the front right wheel bearing was ready to completely fall apart. On top of that, the rear leaf springs, well, common issue on these apparently, they snapped both sides. On top of that, the guy's luck was just getting worse and worse as we dug into it more and more. The truck wouldn't start. We had to tow it into our lot, or into our bay. We thought originally it was because it was a dead battery. Couldn't get it to crank over at all, even after trying to boost it out in the lot. It sat in our lot for 5 weeks before we even figured out whose truck it was and why it was here. So, middle of winter, frozen battery is what we thought. Got her in the air. Then we noticed the U-joint on the drive shaft, right at the transfer case. It catastrophically failed. And when it failed, it was still attached to the front differential, so it started to whip around, punched a hole in the transfer case, and destroyed the fuel lines. Yep. As for the no crank, no start part, well, that was easily solved. When the drive shaft spun around, it smashed into the neutral safety switch on the transmission and disabled it as well. So all in all, the guy was looking at right around $6,000 to $7,000 to fix this truck. Something that has 320,000 kilometers on it. He figured it wasn't worth it. So he decided he was going to scrap it. Originally he said he wanted $500 for it. I kind of hummed and hawed and figured, well, $500 for that, about $4 or $5 for the transfer case, another $2 to $3 for the drive shaft, another $200 for the wheel bearing, probably $800 for the fuel lines. All in all, I'd be in the truck for right around $2,600. And it was like, well, not really worth it to me. Next day, the guy came back and said, you know what, $300, it's yours. That, or I'm going to have it hooked up to a tow truck, and take it off to the crusher where they would give him $3 for it as well. So with that, I figured, well, why not give the guy the $300 for the truck, try it out, see what I can scrounge for parts for it to get her running again. And at worst case, I haul it to the junkyard, get my $300 back. I'm out no money. So I gave him the cash, pulled the rest of the front drive shaft, and dragged her home with the Jeep, where it sat for probably another week. After the weather warmed up, I crawled underneath the truck, and I repaired the fuel line. And all I did was flared the where the lines are broken, and I'll show you some pictures of the before. I don't have any after. I guess I could crawl around under my muddy floor on the driveway, but I really don't want to. So anyways, I crawled under and I cut off the ends of the fuel line where they were still good. I flared them, and then hose clamped high pressure fuel injection rated fuel line to those using multiple high pressure hose clamps. Truck fired up, truck ran great. So for then, I took it for a quick spin around the block just here in town. It would still move under its own power because, well, the internals of the transfer case weren't exploded, just the case had a big hole punched in it. Figured drive her around town a little bit, no big deal. See how she runs. So ran and drove great. I sourced out a used transfer case online, paid $120 for it. Yeah, heck of a deal. So it's the electric shift transfer case. So got the transfer case, got a seal for it, slammed her in the truck in a day, and then I threw the springs on her, threw a new wheel bearing on the front, shipped her down the road. I don't have a front drive shaft yet, but I do have my source on one for about $110. So I just got to go out and pick it up. So for $300 to buy the truck, $200 for the wheel bearing, $100 for the transfer case, and $100 for the drive shaft. So I'm $400 in it in parts, $300 to buy. Not bad. Less than $1,000 to get this truck back up and running and on the road. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm able to do stuff like this, have the experience and have the knowledge to repair, repair the vehicles, buy them dirt cheap, fix them up. And the original plan with this was, to flip it. I've been looking around on Kijiji, which is essentially the Canadian Craigslist. We don't have Craigslist up here, or we do, but nobody uses it. And in my area, these trucks are going for anywhere between $6,000 to $8,000, depending on the mileage. Like I said, mine has about 320,000. It's an 06, fully loaded Lariat. The few that I have found that are Lariats, so the 4-door, the leather seats, heated seats, sunroof, power mirrors, heated mirrors, whole 9 yards. The ones I found have about 460,000 kilometers on them, and they're still going for $7,000. So my original plan was, throw this thing up for $8,200 Canadian, not US dollars, Canadian dollars, and see what offers I'd get. Although I'm kind of liking the truck. I'm not a Ford guy, but for a $1,000 truck that's worth probably around between that $6,000 to $8,000 mark, I'm not going to complain. The rockers aren't rusted out, the doors aren't rusting apart. Like, this thing is in great shape. It was well taken care of. The cam phasers at about 260,000 kilometers were locked out already, and at the 290,000 kilometer mark, spark plugs were already done. OEM Ford Motorcraft or whatever spark plugs were tossed into this truck, so they can last another however many 100,000 kilometers. All in all, this truck has been really good, and I think I'm going to keep it. I might buy a camper and pull with this thing instead of pulling a little small tent trailer with the Jeep. Might as well use this thing, right? So, anyways, if you guys like this video, drop me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, click that subscribe button down below, and maybe hit that little bell button, get notifications when I do post new videos, which unfortunately isn't very often. Don't have too much free time to actually be posting up videos. I wanted to videotape the transfer case swap on this truck because there's not really many out there. Unfortunately, I did it during shop hours at the shop I work at, and my employer isn't too keen on me videotaping inside the shop. So, I'm gonna respect his privacy, and I won't film in the shop. Same thing with the wheel bearing. Unfortunately, I did that yesterday on Saturday, on off hours, at the shop, but I didn't want to film it. I did want to film it, but I didn't want to go against what he would request. So therefore, unfortunately, I couldn't get those 2 videos filmed and out for you guys. But if anything else happens with this truck and I'm doing it in the driveway, absolutely, I will film it, post them up, maybe with the Jeep. She's wherever she is. There it is. It's hurting. Took her off road through some pretty deep snowbanks out at the pits, and on the trails there, and smashed into a boulder buried under the snow pretty hard. Cracked the front diff cover and bent my control arms pretty bad. So she ain't really drivable at the moment. So I guess the next time we see it, the next time we see that Jeep will probably when I slime a lift kit into her. Parts wise, it's about the same price to get OEM control arms, and they're flimsy garbage control arms to begin with, or upgrade them with tubular adjustable upper and lower control arms, front and rear, and throw maybe a 3-inch lift into her on top of the 3-inch puck that's in her. Should do pretty good. So anyways, until the next video, guys, catch you later.
Just gonna send it.
The only way